And the crepe is huge.
It's huge.
It's definitely something that you can share. And it's just like a perfect blend of like chocolate and cream and everything in between. Hey foodies, welcome back to the channel. I'm Sierra.
I'm JT.
And this is Food is Universal. Today we're going to be switching things up a little bit and we're going to be doing a Q&A. So the Q&A isn't going to be about us personally. We're going to be answering some popular questions that folks that may be going to Universal for the first time and need help navigating, the food scene and the food options and things like that. So today we will be answering popular questions that first timers might have.
We're really excited to do this. We love helping you all out. And a lot of the questions are questions we had when we first came also. Just, not knowing the parks as well as we did back then. It's one of the reasons why we started this channel, just so we can help people learn more, we can help people have a fun time at the parks, and so they don't necessarily have to spend a ton of money while being there also, because they are expensive. We love these parks, but they do cost money.
So we actually got a lot of questions from y'all, so we're really grateful for that. And we'd love to answer them all, but for the purpose of this video, we'll only be answering a couple at this time. But let us know if you'd love for us to continue this series. Maybe we can do this once or twice a month where we do Q&As, depending on demand. But let us know if you want us to continue doing this. So let's get started. And these questions are in no particular order. We did source from our followers on Instagram and some Reddit threads and the Facebook groups, just to kind of get a feel for some initial questions that we can work with. So the first question we will be answering is, how do you save money on food at the parks? So the first way that you can save money on food is actually creating a budget before you come and go on vacation. Setting a budget actually helps you kind of plan ahead and in advance so that you know exactly how much money you're willing to spend and spending on what. So that'll also inform what restaurants you choose depending on your budget. That'll also inform what kind of snacks and stuff you get throughout the park, how often you're eating, and things like that. So we really encourage folks to set budgets before they even come to Universal so that, you have like a parameter of your spending limits, and that's really helpful. A lot of times people come on vacation and they just like blow the money that they have, and so that's how they end up spending a lot more than they anticipate because they just didn't have a plan in advance.
Yeah, so like for instance, like when we go to Universal, we don't always have a budget, a set budget, but we do have like a certain amount of money we allot ourselves to be able to spend, and then we work within that. We probably could budget a little more even, honestly, but it keeps us from going too crazy. We all want to buy that extra souvenir, that extra cup of butterbeer, whatever, but when you're working with limited means, it's not something you can always do. We understand that. So another thing you can do to save money at the parks is, when you buy those groceries at CVS or Target, buy some snacks and bring those snacks with you when you go to the parks. There is food allowed. You can bring some outside food as long as it's not massive quantities. Like you can't bring a whole pot of spaghetti and meatballs into the park. That's not gonna happen. But you can bring, if you have like some bags of cheeses or you have fruit snacks or like crackers or something, you can bring those with you, and that should be no problem. And that keeps you from buying, you want to buy the fun treats and stuff like that, but the stuff like you don't want to have to just go and buy like a hot dog or something if you're really not hungry.
And that's where the budget also comes in handy because, if you're budgeting out a certain amount for maybe like lunch, breakfast, or dinner, you can use the snacks that you brought from the grocery store to kind of balance that out. And finally, the last way that we suggest that folks can save money on food is to actually share meals. Of course, this all depends on how many people in your party, everyone's appetite and things like that. But generally, when you go out to restaurants, especially for dinner, the portions tend to be pretty large. And so they can definitely be shared between 2 to 3 people, given everyone's, ages and appetites and things like that. So that really helps in cutting down costs, because if you can only buy maybe like 1 or 2 entrees and share between like a family of 4, for example, that can be really helpful.
Like, for instance, some of the restaurants, so even the last restaurant we covered, which was Thunder Falls Terrace, those platters are pretty large, like, and they can feed, 2 people depending on the appetites of those people. You can buy like 2 plates and feed maybe 4 people.
Yeah, so JT and I actually share entrees a lot. We'll go to, some of our favorite places to go is Bob Marley's and Pat O'Brien's, and those portions are very much shareable. So when we are wanting to spend a little bit less on food, we do find ourselves sharing entrees and still feeling very full and satisfied. So that's definitely a valuable option for folks that are able to do that. Of course, use your best judgment. If you have like smaller kids in your party, they can definitely probably, save, use some money on food by sharing, or if they're ordering off kids menus, of course, those prices tend to be a lot less than your typical like adult entree. A lot of the children's menu prices tend to be no more than like $12, I believe. We did talk about that in another video of ours, where we talked about like the best family-friendly restaurants, so definitely check that one out if you need more info on where exactly to go. But yes, ordering off the kids menu is also an option for saving money if you're not wanting to do entrees.
And also, sharing entrees could open you up to buying dessert, possibly, which is a plus of sharing. You don't spend as much of the entrees, opens you up for other things, maybe an extra dessert or extra drink, whatever. So another question you all asked were, what were our top snacks at Universal Orlando? So I'm just gonna go in order. So our first on the list is going to be a pretzel from Auntie Anne's. I love an Auntie Anne's pretzel. They are the best pretzels to me. I know I may not have tasted all the pretzels. I don't care. Auntie Anne's is one of my favorite pretzels out there.
Yeah, it's a non-negotiable every time we go. Like, it's something about walking past Auntie Anne's and like smelling the pretzels that really gets JT going. So we have to, have one every time we go. We do know, of course, Auntie Anne's is a chain. However, like if you catch it on a good day and a good time, it's pretty good.
It's
like
delicious.
If you catch it when it's fresh and hot and warm, it's pretty good. They have your typical selection, so you can get an original salted, you can do the cinnamon sugar, and they also have the pizza one.
Number 2 would be frozen butterbeer, and specifically frozen butterbeer. That, I haven't had regular butterbeer. I know that may be a little blasphemous, but when we came to Universal together for the first time, we had the frozen butterbeer, and that has changed my life. I don't need to taste it any other way. Frozen butterbeer is the way to go for us. It's so delicious. And we often get that, that's a snack. I know it's a drink, but for us, it's very much a snack. We get it as often as you would get a snack,
It's actually really filling, drinks and juices and such tend to be pretty filling, especially if you're not working off much. So, we can down like a butterbeer or 2 and be pretty good for like a couple of hours. Like JT said, we have only ever had frozen butterbeer. It's perfect for a hot Florida day, which is pretty much all the time. And then hot butterbeer just seems inappropriate. Like it would just make things feel worse. Like I just can't. It's like drinking soup.
Yeah.
In the middle of the Florida sun.
Yeah.
It just doesn't seem like a great time. So unless it is pushing, 30 and below in Florida, we're gonna stick to the frozen butterbeer.
And then our number 1 snack for Universal Orlando. Drumroll, please. It's going to be the crepes at Central Park Creperie. We love the crepes. I personally can't eat a ton of them, but like what I tasted on the crepes is just like delicious. A lot of cream, lactose intolerant, but there is a vegan option that I will try next time we go, because crepes of life.
I, on the other hand, am the one that typically gets the crepes for us. Mostly myself because, you know, JT's lactose intolerant. However, when I go, I love the cookies and cream crepe. I can't get enough of it. And the crepe is huge.
It's huge.
It's definitely something that you can share. And it's just like a perfect blend of like chocolate and cream and everything in between. And it's just really perfect snack because it is very filling. And I definitely don't need anything else for a couple of hours after eating one. Now, you know, they have sweet crepes and they also have savory crepes. We haven't had a savory crepe yet, but we do hear great things about them. Right now, you can choose between the pork carnitas, and they also have a vegan option for our vegan friends. So that's really good to know. I honestly, we will be trying the savory crepes, but it's just like every time we go, because we're not there for that long, it's just like kind of gotta pick and choose what we want to prioritize and what we really want to get. So it's always the cookies and cream for me. But I will let JT have his fun and have a vegan berry crepe. And I'm pretty sure it's great too. I'm just not a huge fan of berry, so we'll see.
So, a segue, we talked about butterbeer in our last question. So now we're talking about what is it like eating in the Wizarding World of Harry Potter? So with this question, we thought about, you know, are reservations required? You know, what are the best options? You know, what are the must-haves in that area? And just to start out, you do not need reservations for any of the restaurants in the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. You just walk on in, order your food, you'll be seated. They do assigned seating. So it can get pretty busy during peak times of the year in those areas, and especially the restaurants, but you never need a reservation. So just keep that in mind.
Team members actually do a really excellent job at crowd control. So even if you do see a long line posted up outside of either the Leaky Cauldron or the Three Broomsticks, which are the two, you know, major places that you can eat in the Wizarding World, they do a great job at just keeping the line going, so you never have to wait that long. I think the most that we've ever waited in line was maybe like 10 to 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So, you know, like JT said, the two main places that you can eat are the Leaky Cauldron and the Three Broomsticks. Both locations are quick service, which means that there is no traditional like waiter or waitress, and you know, you pretty much go online, order your food, sit down, they will bring you your food, you eat, take as much time as you like, and then you leave. So it's really quick and efficient. It's a really simple process. I know that, you know, for folks that are going for the first time, it might be a little confusing, but definitely do not let the lines deter you. And if, you know, it's a place that you must try, if it's your first time, if you're a huge fan, definitely recommend going. But also keeping in mind that these places do tend to be a little bit more on the pricier side of lunch and dinner compared to other options around the park. And we've talked about that a little bit before, but we do like flagging that for folks because a lot of folks are traveling with families and friends. So, you know, when we talk about things like saving money on food and budgeting and being cognizant of things like that, we just kind of like to tell people ahead of time about, you know, dining at the Wizarding World.
So the options you have at the Wizarding World locations, so specifically Diagon Alley and Hogsmeade, you have in Hogsmeade the
Butterbeer.
Butterbeer, of course. You have all the butterbeer in both locations. Frozen, regular, and hot butterbeer are your options. And the restaurants, so in Hogsmeade you have Three Broomsticks, and in Diagon Alley you have the Leaky Cauldron. Also in Diagon Alley there is an ice cream parlor. The name, we have a hard time saying the name, Florian Fortescue's. I'm sorry if I got that wrong. But it's an ice cream parlor. It has a lot of very unique ice cream flavors, a lot of cool combinations. They have a PB&J ice cream. They also have butterbeer ice cream, which I tried. Sierra had an Earl Grey ice cream. That was very interesting.
Lavender Earl Grey.
Yeah. Oh, lavender Earl Grey.
Yeah, it was very interesting.
So, you know, ice cream in Diagon Alley. They also have a candy shop in both locations. So both Diagon Alley and Hogsmeade There's lots of different wizarding candy and pastries. So like chocolate frogs, Birdie Bot's every flavored beans. So take your time and explore those because they're really cool and they have a lot of cool little Easter eggs and stuff like that.
So between the two major dining locations, Leaky Cauldron and Three Broomsticks, our favorite is actually the Leaky Cauldron. We just tend to like the lunch options a little bit better. I love getting the bangers and mash. I've had that a couple of times and just love, how fresh everything tastes, and just like the portions, of course, are, really good. It's shareable. We don't share, but we can if we really wanted to, and you can too.
My favorite thing at the Leaky Cauldron is the fish and chips. They have it at both locations, but it's again really fresh, really well done fish and chips. Very well battered, and the fries are nice and crispy. You can also get a bunch of the drinks from the Wizarding World there as well. So you have butterbeer there, you can get the fishy green ale, the peach fizzing tea, all those drinks are also available. They also serve breakfast at both locations right when the park opens. We had breakfast there the last time we went at Leaky Cauldron, and we thought it was pretty good, pretty delicious. I really enjoyed it. I had the English breakfast, and Sierra had a leek and
mushroom pasty.
Yes.
It was very good. We covered this in one of our last videos actually, where our Instagram followers chose where we got to eat for a day. So that's how we ended up trying breakfast for the first time. And it was, like JT said, it was really good, and we would definitely go back. So breakfast, lunch, and dinner are all options available to you in the Wizarding World at no reservation cost to you, just like a simple wait in line. And we definitely think it's worth it, like if you have the financial means to go, if it's in your budget, or if you're just like a super hardcore Harry Potter fan and you need to go, definitely do it. So the last question that we'll be answering today is a good one actually, and is very important for folks that have dietary restrictions. And that question is, what food options are available to people who may be vegetarian or vegan, have gluten sensitivities and things like that? And the answer to this is actually really simple, but also, it has like it needs a little nuance, right? So there are a lot of options available to people with certain dietary restrictions and sensitivities. Universal has been actually really good in the last coming years on expanding their menu for folks who, might be vegetarian or vegan and things like that. Now, while we don't know a lot of options off the top of our head, they're like, we can say things like there's vegan options available at Central Park Crepes, or, you can order your butterbeer vegan now and things like that. So there are a couple ways that you can find out what options are available to you, like specific food items. One is actually using the Universal Orlando app. You will go to the dining section of the app, click on the funnel, and sort whatever dietary restriction you have. So whether that's vegan, vegetarian, kosher, they have gluten-free, things like that. So you'll click that, and then whatever results appear, which will usually just be like the restaurants that offer that particular dietary option, will show up. However, it's not always like efficient. So a more efficient option is to actually navigate to whatever restaurant you are thinking of going to, and then looking at that menu, and it'll be marked. So it'll have like a little legend, usually like a V, or gluten-free, GF, things like that. So you want to look for those signs and symbols on the menus themselves, and that'll actually yield you a lot more options. It just requires that you have like an idea of where you want to eat. Menus are also available in park. So if you are already at the park and you don't feel like, whipping out your phone or anything like that, you can just go up to any particular like restaurant or quick service spot, see their menu before you actually walk in, and then, they'll still have it marked the same way. So there are multiple options. And it really just depends on where you want to go and what kind of cuisine you're actually kind of looking for, because there's a lot going on. Like, you know, Universal has like Irish restaurants, Caribbean restaurants, just traditional American, Italian, things like that. So it really just depends on what you're looking for.
And if you're on Instagram, there's an amazing resource for our vegan friends that love to go to Universal. One of our friends, Universal Orlando Vegans, has a great Instagram page. They cover a wide variety of the food available. It's almost like every time there's a new item, they're right on top of it. It's pretty amazing. They're awesome. Go check them out. Tell them we sent you their way. So that's it for this video. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you got the answers to your questions that you're looking for. If you have more questions, leave a comment below. DM us on Instagram, whatever makes you feel more comfortable. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. And with that being said, I'm JT.
And I'm Sierra.
And always remember that food is universal. See ya.